about the VOD and the silver screen. Kevin and Tom and Joe know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 762, Exorcist Daydream Believer.
You wish.
Oh, that would be the best.
That would be a very interesting movie.
That would
They
be,
should have made a horror movie with all the monkeys.
That would. Well, they did have an
Yeah.
episode where there was like a Frankenstein's monster type character.
And
Yeah,
one
but
of
I
them
mean-
was in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
that's true.
Wasn't one in a Halloween? He's a sheriff or
He's
something,
the-
right?
He
He's
runs
the
the gun-
principal, maybe?
No, he's selling. He runs the gun shop.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
okay.
sells a gun to Sam Loomis.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
All right.
Mickey Dolenz.
That's right.
The last one left alive.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. He's the only one left.
And I guarantee.
Be at the family arena 1 week from last Friday.
Good plug.
Yeah,
Well done.
yes, because we have so
For
many.
the St. Charles listeners.
Yes, for all the St. Louis listeners. So.
I'm willing to bet we don't have a lot of St. Charles listeners.
I think we probably don't.
So I guess let's go around the table and everyone can introduce themselves.
This is Joe.
This is Kevin.
This is Tom, and joining us once again is Matt F Basler. Did I say it right that time? No.
No,
No.
Basler.
you never have.
Never have.
Just think of the way you're going to say it and then do it the other way.
But then I get in my head,
Right,
and then I'm like, and I flip it back.
Which is, did I do it the right way? Did
Yeah.
I not do it the right way?
Double
Who,
negative.
what's the right way? Who can say?
You
there's,
can.
the way,
You
can.
It's your name.
there's the way I pronounce it, but that doesn't make it right.
I think
I've been thinking about that lately, though, because, you know, if enough people start saying words and then they just add words to the dictionary. So I do really think it's like, what makes it right when it can get adopted or accepted?
when it's somebody's name.
I know, but names even change over the years. Like
Yeah.
they used to say it this way based on whatever, and then that
At
gets
some
lost.
point, it went from Scorsese to Scorsese.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I guess
Yeah.
it did, didn't it?
Yeah. Or I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember when it was Rick Ocasek, and then at some point it was like, no, it's Rick Ocasek. Or maybe I'm doing that backwards.
like-
I don't know.
And
No,
James Brolin went to James Brolin. I mean,
no,
that
it
never
never was a thing.
changed
That's
and was
not
totally
a thing.
accepted.
No,
Yeah.
that's I know it's a real nightmare for you, but
Oh man,
These
deep,
guys have-
that's a deep cut that never gets old.
These guys have me up so bad. I have like trauma, and not trauma, but every time someone says one of these words wrong now, it's just like this sharp stabbing to my head where I'm like, oh, I can't believe they say it that way.
it's like when someone from St. Louis goes to another city and someone says Warsh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you got? An R in that word?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Missouri,
Missouri.
that I'll even allow.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me so
but the
much.
Warsh.
Warsh. It's a lot. Like, and if you watch Roseanne, John Goodman says Warsh.
Oh, does he really?
Because he used
That's
to.
Talking about
honestly.
like,
Sure.
her stand-up special
You wouldn't
on
believe though.
Fox Nation. I watched that.
I would say, speaking of adopted pronunciations, though, more people say nightmare the way I used to
I
say
gotta
it
tell
than
you though,
nightmare. I'm telling you.
I hear it. I do hear it more that I've
Well, it
called
started
you.
to correct me. Now everyone, if you listen to podcasts, YouTube videos, people
Yeah.
say nightmare. That's
Nightmare.
just, and that's how
Instead of
I always.
nightmare.
I know. You're nuts, but I didn't know you thought everyone
I'm telling you,
shared
it's
your
bizarre
delusion.
because now it bothers me so much. I'm like, yeah, that's how
It's
I
like when
always
you,
heard it.
It's like when
and
you
said
buy
it.
a new car and then you see that car everywhere.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, I didn't know there were that many traverses out there.
I mean, it's unbelievable how many people say
hear it a
nightmare,
lot.
and now I'm like, oh my god, they say that. Like you've really been,
you loser.
yeah, cretin.
You needed friends to beat it out of you.
Oh, so
To
anyway,
publicly shame you on a podcast about
Yes.
how you say a word.
thank you for the
You're welcome.
tough psychiatry over
Tough
here.
love, baby.
We're here to help.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the worst when when a spouse has a word that they can't get right.
They just
and
let
you're
it
trying
go.
to be
You
like,
gotta- okay.
honey, like that's. How you say that?
Yeah.
You use that word.
It's very
wrong.
delicate to
Yeah.
approach it. Yeah.
It's even worse when it's your safe word.
That's the problem.
That's-
You're just
No,
You know.
that's not it.
Yeah, I'm not. You didn't say it right.
What'd you say? No?
Sorry.
no, sorry.
It's the only way you'll learn.
No, I'm sorry. We were looking for the moops.
Yeah.
The moops.
So before we dig in, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart. I have to train myself to not say Google.
Oh, is that gone?
They're getting rid of Google Podcasts.
I went on Google Music, and first thing that pops up was like that little sticky note that's like, oh, you can find podcasts here. So they're trying to direct people that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you can also find us on the Facebook at facebook.com/real spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Don't forget wait, I'm skipping ahead. We have League of Show Sharers. It's what it's called, and you should share an episode. People who were kind enough to share an episode last week include Richard Krotzer, Lane Levanway, Brendan McGuckin, Tammy Lynn Powers, Betts, Chris Falls, Julianne Jordan, Chris Magic Man, Gabriel Lugo, Ralph Tribble, Glenn Cougar, Melon Brewer, Tom Dowdy, Travis Tewitt, Josh Rosen, Dissect That Film, Christopher Rex, Heather Sachs, David Rojas, Spoiler Piece Theater, Invasion of the Remake, Ryan Terry, Ronnie Castle, Geek to Me Radio, In Session Film, Binge Movies, Nostalgia Cast, Colby Mack, Batman, Rye Guy, Mike, and Oscar, and Feelin' Film. One noticeably
I was
absent-
busy.
Oh, wow.
One noticeably absent League of Show Sharer would, of course, be Joe.
Could have avoided the
Batiste.
Brad Hyan rule. I had a long weekend. All right.
Very long that you
Yeah.
couldn't just be like, sure.
Yep. I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh, yeah. I didn't
And
see
I
it on
don't. And
social
I have
media.
to. I have to warn the people who share on Twitter. I don't know how much longer I'll be able.
Oh, that's
to
true.
count you because
What's Twitter?
but I refuse to call it the other thing.
Not even so you can watch X videos?
Yeah.
No, that's a different website.
That's what they're called.
No, it's not.
Yes, the videos on there are called X videos.
Like how it's amazing how dumb that son of a bitch is. Like it's
Yeah.
just like, oh, we have a format that's working. I'm gonna fuck it up.
And the streaming, because the videos, he wants to stream video games, and he was streaming himself playing Elden Ring or whatever, and it's called X streaming or X streams, and it's like that. How is that not going to get confused? I would like to look up some X streams, please. Like,
It's like when YouTube came out with YouTube Red.
Yeah,
And I'm
right.
like,
So does he want to turn it into like Twitch?
yeah,
he didn't know.
It's
what he
gonna
wants
be
to do.
everything.
he wants to
It's gonna
take
be
over
banking?
everything from everybody.
Oh
Yeah.
my god! What a
dessert
moron.
topping. It's everything. So when I go to look at who has retweeted an episode, I can
Reposted, yeah.
Sure. Look, you might be getting a check from Elon, but I'm not. So it's still Twitter. I can no longer see it on the desktop version. I can only see it on my phone. So it makes me wonder if it's going away.
You just have to pay for the feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, God,
Now there's going to be 3 tiers of payments they have.
it's getting less and less even worth being on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really only even log in anymore to do the League of Show
Right.
Shares.
Yeah.
Done. So anyway, you can also find us on Patreon at patreon.com/real spoilers, where for $5 a month you get all sorts of bonus content, and we like you more. Also, don't forget you can watch these things on YouTube or Y videos.
Whatever.
Yeah. So
I think they forgot. Smash that subscribe button and watch these videos. 50 views ain't cutting it.
Yeah,
so anyway, there's all that. Let's dig in.
man. So I think
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
It's okay. Admit it. These movies are bad.
these movies. Okay, these movies are not bad. The first one is a masterpiece.
oh,
Well, yeah, no
Wow.
one. I don't think anyone is saying The Exorcist is a bad movie.
The third one,
I might
is,
say it.
Are you serious?
So I just watched.
It's a little slow
I just
by
watched
today's
The Exorcist,
standards.
so I couldn't remember if I've seen it or not. And as I'm watching, like certain scenes seem familiar, so
Sure.
I can't.
Which
I can't-
version did you watch?
Oh,
There's two cuts.
Max, where you go to watch or whatever.
Was there a spider walk?
Yeah. Did
Was
Oh,
you watch-
no, I don't think
Okay,
so.
so you watched the original.
You watched? Yeah.
theatrical.
Okay.
There's the version you've never seen.
Okay.
Which is more in depth.
So the deal is like I'm sure I've seen The Exorcist in middle school or whatever, like as I was finding horror movies, but I could not remember it. And a lot of these scenes were familiar, but I did not remember how slow and boring the movie is.
I think that movie's amazing.
There's really not much that happens until you get to the demon stuff. And it's like, yeah, for the time, the effects and all that, okay, they're impressive. But man, I think that movie's a slog. I think it's uninteresting. I don't care about any of the religious stuff. I don't think I like these movies because they're just the whole subject matter of demons and God and like none of it appeals to me at all.
I think the first one is amazing.
And you also have to
the-
look at it in historical context.
That's
in terms
true.
of like it's 1973. There was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Right, like that's the thing is I watch it, I'm like, okay, for significance, like that was crazy for the time. Like I can appreciate all that, but I also will say, does a movie hold up or not? I do not think The Exorcist holds up at all.
Respectfully disagree.
I saw it late as well, and I think I don't like it as much as I would have
Yeah.
if I saw it very young.
I think people,
But I think it's very good.
It's like what
I
Tom
like
always says about the movies I love,
Yeah.
so I'm going to turn that around and say, you may think that
I
you
didn't watch
like
that. I didn't watch that until I was 18. I refused to watch it.
Yeah.
Until I was like 18.
Well, because
people-
it's R-rated and you follow the rules.
follow the rules.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, but people say it's a masterpiece. People say it's amazing, and people think they have to say it's amazing, and everyone just knows it's amazing. But coming to it later, or at least from what I can remember, I'm like, I would never watch this movie again. I
I
have
think
no
it's
interest.
fantastic. But I think the third one is also
It's very good.
insanely underrated.
I think the third may be the best one. I saw that first.
I can understand that.
and I think more of the detective stuff and all that. I think that's probably the best one.
And the
then
only ones I've seen are 1 and 3. I've never seen any.
two
of the other stuff.
is it's crazy.
Uniquely an awful film.
What makes it so bad?
It's because so it goes back to Reagan
right.
and
But she has good powers now. I watched a little YouTube
Yeah,
video. She
but
apparently is able to. She has supernatural powers.
I've only seen it once.
And because they tell you. She puts on this head thing. They're doing tests, right?
Yeah.
And she's kind of she'll be making these faces ooh. And then the doctor's going yeah, she's fighting a demon in there.
Yeah, they're saying that Pazuzu buried himself
Yeah.
in her psyche and
And you're well, cool. Can we see?
Yeah.
No, the doctor will tell you
I
about
saw
it.
the
Don't worry.
The priest gets hooked up to a Doc Brown headgear, and they both can communicate, and the priest sees there's a demon in there.
yeah, it's
And then apparently, the demon's doing all this crazy stuff and attacking the priest, and then Reagan comes in and is like, I'm magic now and can cure him or something. I don't know. That's what it's.
which I thought was going to happen in this movie.
Her mom's magic now.
Yeah.
Reaching her hands out.
God. So there's that, the third one, and then there's two cuts of Exorcist Beginning. There's the Rennie Harlan version that I think got released in theaters, and then there's a second version that's a completely different title.
And I think Rennie Harlan's was released first, made second.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that's that
Like
fourth
they shelved
movie.
it or something?
Well, it was a mess. So they went back and recut and reshot. So there's Exorcist the Beginning, and then there's Dominion, which it's the same movie, it's the same premise, but they're two very different movies. So, and I think you can only find Dominion. You can find the other one, but Dominion's the one that's
Right.
readily
Watch that
available.
X videos.
Yes, right.
That's where they keep it.
And then they say Dominion. They do the thing where Beginning sucked, but Dominion's actually good.
Is
But
Jurassic World
it's
Dominion
not.
better or Exorcist
Right.
Dominion?
Exorcist Dominion.
Yeah, I'd probably
That's a blow bar.
probably admit that.
But I don't think Dominion's very good.
It's not.
It's just better.
I will say I do like the idea of a Father Mirren origin story. I think that's a cool idea.
Yeah, so apparently he almost died during an exorcism in both versions. He grew up in there were.
Are you talking about Dominion? Or
Well,
the
they
beginning?
go to his flashbacks. Both of them apparently have very similar.
By Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. And so he's grows up around. He's in another country I can't remember,
Yeah.
but there's Nazis there. It's Nazi.
Yeah.
America.
No, this is before.
This is before.
Before we had Nazis.
And so the Nazis force him to make a decision that he either has to pick 10 villagers to die or all
Be
the
Speaker
villagers
of the House.
Yeah.
or all
Brother?
the villagers die. So he has to pray and make this decision. It's either 10 or all. I guess it's kind of like the railroad
They're all tied up
proposition
to
or
a
whatever.
trolley.
Right, the trolley, yeah. And so he has to make the decision. He decides, but then after that horrible thing, he renounces his faith and then goes on to be a archaeologist, and that's where you see the flashback in the very first Exorcist movie.
Of him to seeing Pazuzu's statue and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then there's the show.
Is the show supposed to be like?
It's like a reboot. It's
Okay.
a complete reboot. I think the first season is like the movie. Like it's the two priests.
One cup.
One communion cup, yeah. Sometimes,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they do
One
pass it
chalice.
around.
One chalice.
chalice.
One chalice. Yeah. And then it's basically kind of like a remake of The Exorcist. And then the second season is different, but it's the same two.
Can I just
priests.
say while I'm thinking about it?
Well, maybe you should try a TV show because it's probably like 6 or 7 hours. So if they take that same story and make it slower,
Oh, that'll
you
be
might
good.
you might enjoy that. Kevin.
Yeah. Right.
I just want to say that every time they say the body and the blood in this movie, I was thinking, the body and the blood. Let the body and the blood. I think I was just trying.
Okay. So, I think the first fourth of this movie is really good.
I think it's got a good setup.
I like the
I'll say
idea.
this: it's better than the last two Halloween movies.
It feels like you're
Yes.
finally catching on to this David Gordon Green guy.
Well, it's insane that dude made Halloween 2018 because
Yeah.
I do think that movie is phenomenal.
That movie's great,
And I think the opening part of Kills is phenomenal.
What do you think of Halloween Ends?
I think it's a terrible movie, but I enjoy it because I'm a homer for Halloween.
Getting closer. Getting
We're
closer.
just beating Joe into submission for.
I do not like the Corey
Halloween
thing. I don't.
for Joe. It's like your little brother. It's okay for you to make fun of that
Okay,
movie,
all right.
but it's not okay
Yeah,
for other
nobody
people
else
to
can make fun of that.
Or
movie.
when you're going, man, I hate that guy. It's like, oh, he's my brother, man.
Yeah,
We've talked about it a lot, and I think there's Patreons. There are some really good ideas in Halloween Ends, and I think
there
they,
are,
and they should have.
and the other kills.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they both are good premises.
But they should have went with Corey somehow becoming the new Michael. I don't think Michael should have existed. Like,
Kevin,
if they-
can we? You want to do a Halloween Patreon
Are you
episode?
kidding me?
There's
Yes,
so,
I do.
There are so many good Halloween Ends with Corey and I think the things they're like the town and what they've been through.
I think
there
the
are so
idea
many good
of like
ideas in the.
I think in both movies, I think there's a lot there.
Well, that second movie of them just like walking around at airport, all like
Yeah,
zombie,
that was
like,
ridiculous.
that second one is
But
so
I
bad.
do,
but,
but
that
I do
third
like the
movie-
idea of the town kind of like being like, "That's it, we're done. Like we're done. We're not letting this thing."
But you'd be messed up, and then another kid comes along, and they kind of pin him with the crazy killer, and then him dealing with all that, and him kind of going into this like repressed state.
when
And,
he when he snapped that kid in half
yeah,
off the
right.
Off the,
And then him having to live with that.
okay,
like,
okay. The opening of Halloween Kills is great, and I think if somebody were to edit the beginning,
which one is which? I can't remember,
so
honestly.
Halloween Kills is the
third?
second
the middle one.
Okay.
Ends
Halloween
is
Ends
the
is
one
the-
where it ends.
It actually, okay.
So
Yeah,
the
just
opening
a little
credits
cheat sheet for you there.
Yeah, right. The opening 20 minutes of that is the two sheriffs, like Michael walking through the city.
Right.
It's the flashback to 1978. I think that's insanely well done. If you were to
oh yeah, because
edit,
it looked just like it.
if you were to
Yeah.
edit that to the end of Halloween, I think that plays perfectly.
I completely forgot about that opening.
It's
How good it was because I've
phenomenal.
just repressed all my Halloween.
I think the
Kills memory.
beginning of Ends is insanely
It's fine.
good.
It's fine.
It's great.
I think the beginning with Corey and him dealing with that, and then him like living with people calling him a murderer and psycho and all that stuff. But it's just the way that it goes, and the interaction with Michael and the weird homeless guy, and then Michael having these supernatural powers where he just somehow is like
where he gets
alive.
He gets stronger. Well, okay, so the original idea for Ends was they were going to introduce the Silver Shamrock thing from Halloween 3, the original, and that was going to be why Michael was as crazy as he was.
Okay, they
It's
should've.
here he was going to have the
Yeah.
shamrock on the back of the mask. That was the whole thing.
Boom, do it. That would have been awesome.
That would have been crazy. Okay, so I do think this idea that this our main character, well, I guess he's our main character, he loses his wife, or he has to make a decision. He loses his wife in a freak accident. He has this daughter now that he's raising by himself, and there's like a special, not even a special bond, but he's very protective of her because
They seem very close.
They call this the Batman proposition.
Also, not close enough to
Right?
realize that his daughter has another friend somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I was like, well,
kids at school friends are. I mean,
yeah,
Well, but he knows her because she comes up and says his name.
that's true. But like the way that,
But no, I know what you mean. Yeah,
the
right.
way- like when they're talking to the parents, the one parents are like, we didn't even know that our kids were
Right.
friends. And then when these
Well,
kids go,
that says more about those parents. Than
also
the dad.
true. That's fair.
I think she didn't want to tell her parents she had a black friend.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, because the parents are kind of douchey.
Oh, very douchey.
Dude,
Well, the mom's not.
No, this is David, and he's pulling us apart because he can't keep a character
That's true.
straight.
Because she starts like really, she does one non-douchey thing.
That's fair.
At the end,
It's never like like Old Man in Home Alone, where you're like, oh, I think it's this way, but
Right.
but then we learn
That
more.
he's not a serial killer.
Right, like the neighbor lady, right?
Yes.
She comes out and she's like, I'm the worst person.
right?
But then the next time you see her, she's like, I'm a very good person. And and it's almost, I feel like David, did he write this, David Gordon
Yeah.
Green?
Yes.
I feel like
It's bad.
it's bad.
So
Yes.
pretty-
I thought maybe he like ran with a
I
crew.
mean, it's okay.
No,
No,
he-
it's
there's
not
a-
the
there's a
worst thing
co-
ever, but like
There is a co-writer, but it's not
He-
Danny McBride.
I feel almost like, and look, this is me. I don't know. It could be a sweetheart, but the way the movies make me
I
feel
used to
about
love
him.
his comedy movies.
Sure.
I think they're great. I'm ready for him to now fail back
He
into
better be glad that William Friedkin's not alive.
Your Highness too.
He would have lit him up.
Dude, have you seen William Friedkin interviews?
Oh yes.
Holy crap.
He pulls no punches.
Did
now
not
those I
give,
will watch. Those are more entertaining than The Exorcist.
Did
I will-
not give up.
But he,
Hilarious. Oh, we talked about the French Connection, right? And him just
Yeah.
doing whatever he wants.
But
and-
it's like he's not exactly flawless either.
Absolutely not.
Like he made turn of the century.
Yeah, they're not all winners.
Yeah.
Davey
Or
feels
deal of the century.
like he
There we go.
thinks he's smart or something, or he's had enough successes that he's like, I'm actually a really smart
well,
guy
they
now.
keep giving him these proper like,
and he's like, I feel like he's trying to like turn tropes on their head, but he's not understanding movie language. Like when you have the lady come out and go, you gotta get your trash cans.
Right.
We go, okay, I get it. They've had a rivalry, they don't get along.
But also, bring in your trash cans.
of course,
Like
sure.
that's like as
Yes, and
like
and
bring in your
people
trash cans.
people identify with different kinds of characters, and this doesn't surprise me. This
Well, especially when he just ignores it. I was like,
He was just like,
I'm like,
cool.
I know we're supposed to like this guy, but like, what a
But I
dick.
also-
But
I
bring in
forget,
your
but
trash cans.
this is the mean cop
Yeah.
from Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
David Gordon Green is not correctly with the language of film telling us what we're,
spot on.
because he's saying, like, I think he's trying to be like,
the ex-boyfriend.
We
Yes.
talked about this because me and Matt are watching Halloween Ends, and we're like, that guy, like, what you're trying to make that cop. Like, Joe's like, well, he's not that bad of a guy. I'm like, but the movie language he's presenting
I know.
is he's a jerk.
But that entire right.
you're right.
He doesn't do anything that's
but
like.
we're right.
Also, yeah, they want him to be the bad guy, but when he's like, he pulls over Allison and he's just like, "Hey, I'm just seeing what's going on. You gotta,
Right.
I'm just checking in." And she's like, "Gotta go bye." And then he's at the diner with all of his cop buddies who could have easily kicked the shit out of Corey if they wanted. And he says, "No, it's fine. Let's just go back to our
Yes.
table," and doesn't do anything to Corey until later by himself. He doesn't bring
I know.
his posse with him. He beats it, but then Corey ends up killing him anyway.
Okay,
But
but then the cop goes by him like to do illegal stuff.
Well, but the
So
thing is,
that's
but
not
he's
cool.
okay, but
It's just turned
But-
to a Halloween
yeah,
Ends.
but
podcast.
he
can't help if
How
we
about
mention
Exorcist?
Halloween Ends.
How about
but
Exorcist?
he is picking a fight with the guy who's dating his ex-girlfriend. That's
see,
a fight
and
that
that's
kind of
something
makes sense.
He identifies with. And this is two psychos. But this is what I'm saying. I think he's just. I feel like he's maybe doing these things on purpose. Like, wouldn't it be cool to set up where you think she's mean, but then she's actually not? But he doesn't do it right. It's just the very next time we see her at the hospital, she's like, "Oh, I'm glad you're okay. I'm a very nice lady."
I think the turn should have come when the daughter mentions the demon.
Right,
Basically,
she could have still been mean, and she could have
And
been a
then
nurse
that's
doing
the
her
turn.
her
I
job.
will say that language of cinema was so bad that I did not realize that was the same person.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, also,
I thought that was a throwaway cranky neighbor, and now at the end when she says, "I'm glad that God put me as your neighbor," I'm
Right.
just now clicking because that didn't pay off in any
but
meaningful
also
way.
the way they shoot that, she's so far in
Far
the
away.
distance. And
Because I did not realize that was her.
And it's
Yeah.
the same with like the church, the pastor at the church. You see that whole church scene, you're like, this dude's slimy. I get it.
Right.
Okay, Gordon, we're on the same
Yeah.
page. But then he's not. He's like just a nice.
Priest Vengers Assemble. I thought that whole thing was so ridiculous.
that
I could
drove
not-
me insane.
How cool they thought they were being to bring all the faiths together.
But it's
and-
two.
Yeah.
That's
but there's
exact-
a lot of people that are
but
like,
only-
but one guy's
It's-
talking in
I think
tongues
it's
and one.
3.
Oh, you know that one guy
Because
talking in
it's-
tongues is from St. Louis, right?
No, who's
That's
that?
Norbert Leo Butts.
And
But
Bud
he's like a
Ice?
big Broadway guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I went to high school with his nephews.
Oh, okay. But it's just
but yeah.
real quick. It is 3 faiths because you get Catholicism, you get
Christianity.
Catholics are Christian.
I know,
I
but-
don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I do know that. But that's what
you
they-
get non-denominational,
Yeah.
whatever they are, and then you get the lady from Haiti, which
Right.
I
Yeah.
think is supposed to be
But
like
we're-
like Santeria,
Is
which
the-
is like a mixture of voodoo and Catholicism.
We're saying the priest is Catholicism, or was there
yeah,
another
sure.
representation? Well,
Oh, thank
really.
you for figuring.
yeah.
I mean, which is okay. Jumping around here.
Oh, and I gotta say, the whole thing was like, oh, we've got all these faiths and we've assembled the Avengers, but the Catholic priest is missing. And then at the end, when he's like back, I'm like, this is so ridiculous. It was so
the thing-
stupid.
And look, I
they were
don't,
like, yeah, he's here.
I don't make movies. I'm sure it's so hard. Whatever.
Oh, sure,
Wouldn't it have been
absolutely.
better to set that priest up as like a badass?
Yeah.
Like, I can do this. I know how to do this. I've done this before.
Like Damien.
And then,
Like the Pope's Exorcist.
like,
That's the one I want to see. I
sure,
still haven't
yeah.
seen it, but that looked fun.
I watched it last night. It's a lot of fun.
Okay,
Is it really?
I want to see that.
And so,
yeah.
Yeah.
right, and then you have him like, but he's like maybe by the book, right?
Right.
So he doesn't
He can't
come
do
in,
it, but he's-
and then
By
he
the
finally
good book.
by the good book,
Yeah.
And then he finally does come in, and then because when he the priest in the movie, you only
He's
see
kind
him
of a
a little
wormy
bit.
guy,
He's such
too.
a little wimp.
But it
He
is like
is.
when Father Mirren.
I also can't help but notice they set that whole thing up about don't touch them, and the first thing
First
that
thing he
happens
does.
Right.
is and I'm like, man, these priests just can't not touch the kids.
And I just because he comes in and all the people
like,
in the room are like,
"Yay!"
yes, but I'm going,
so
well,
ridiculous.
this guy sucks.
The fact that they were all doing their thing and then that big payoff because it's like, and I get it, it's The Exorcist, so like that is the thing that has been proven to work. But the way they celebrated it, and I'm just
It
like,
is-
But
what
that's
are
the
they
thing. You get
doing?
it because you've seen other exorcism movies.
Right.
The movie doesn't tell us
No,
that
you
this
have
guy's
to know. Right,
People
right.
in a horror movie don't know they're in a horror movie.
Right. But I also, to your point though, when Father Mirren walks into that house,
He's awesome.
but it's also Max von Sydow.
I know,
right?
but
so there's a
that's-
little bit of a
That is a great point though, because watching that movie, the only payoffs to me were, the Exorcist scenes and the makeup and effects for the time, very good, and then the commanding presence
Yeah.
of Max von Sydow. He comes in and you're like, okay,
he was
I'm
like,
on board
I'm gonna
this
kick
guy.
the out of that demon.
This
Yeah.
guy's cool, and his performance is so good. And in this movie, you don't get anyone that's really like
And having a
the
guy.
Haitian lady. I will say, gives one of the best performances when she gives that speech in the cemetery. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
she is acting like
Yeah.
that was an awesome. And I think the writing isn't very good in this movie.
She took chicken
she-
made a chicken salad.
I just thought she gave the best performance in
Yeah.
this movie. I really do.
I think also the way in that final scene, we've got all these different denominations of religion, right?
Yeah, the Priest Vengers.
The priest vendors. And there's only 2 that really do anything.
Nobody does anything.
The priest
Well,
comes
they
in.
can't, which the point
the,
is because
the only guy that does anything is the dad that screws up.
Yeah.
And then why does the demon even do that? Go like, well, I'll make a little game for you.
Well,
You gotta pick one. Do
I
you?
was like, we saw this. It was in the Dark Knight.
It's-
Like I watched this movie.
Right.
It's
It
the
is.
same.
And if you know anything about exorcism and the history of the act, the story that the original movie's very loosely based
Very.
on, like that family was Lutheran.
They
and,
were.
and Lutherans don't believe in exorcism. And finally, they were like,
They went to the Jesuits.
you need to go find yourself a Catholic.
Yep.
And because they were from
they weren't from here, but
but then they moved here. 'Cause
Yeah.
they were from like Maine or something, and then they end up living in like I think Belnor.
I think
up
so.
by Umsel, but then it's performed over at Slough,
It
right?
is.
Because there's still like a floor they won't
there
let you
is.
go on.
I will tell you. I have a video
Yeah.
of walking on that floor.
Yeah, you told us you had
Yeah,
been to that.
it's
yeah.
so it's like it's DeBerg Hall, which is like the original Slough College. Like it was one building. they're
For non-St. Louis, SLU is St. Louis University.
St. Louis University. Sorry, yeah. And now it's obviously expanded since then, but it used to just be on this little corner. And they've built onto it, and since they've done that, everything's been renovated, everything's been gutted, and it's updated. But there's one door. This is honest to God truth. I'm YouTube. I'm telling you the truth. There is one door in this one building with no. It's just all the doors have labels, right? Numbers or whose office this is. There's one door.
And it says Exorcist.
It says Exorcist
666.
Yeah, that's right. There's no label. There's no name on the door. But if you open that door, it goes into a room that has you get possessed. That has never been touched. It's never been refinished. It is in the exact same condition. Well, it's dilapidated now, but there's a staircase that goes up the wall, and then around, and then there's like a walkway that's again never been touched. Where this boy, it was a boy, it wasn't a girl. All
these bastards. This whole thing just fell
those
apart.
woke motherfuckers. There's
Reagan, the original Mary.
yeah, right. There's three rooms. One room at the very end of the hallway, which is where the boy stayed, and there's two other rooms where the priest stayed. And they did most of the exorcisms there, because it wasn't like one session. It was like a constant thing. And then they took that boy to what's called the White House Retreat, which is like a Jesuit retreat house for seminars and stuff like that. They did exorcisms on him out there, and then I think they took him to. Maybe he started at Election Brothers, which I think is gone, right?
Election Brothers?
Yeah, it was a hospital.
Okay.
And that might be, I don't know. But that's where it started.
Yeah.
Then they brought him to SLU. Then they took him out to
But
the White
there's
House.
a house that they stayed in that you can visit that's in St. Louis.
It's the White
too?
House. It's, if you look it up, it's like the Jesuit White House retreat.
Oh, I thought there was a house that like the family lived in that was a different.
That's the one that's up by Umsel and Belnor.
Yes,
Okay.
there is that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you, I'll plug this guy for whatever reason. The Grimm, it's like the Grimm Collective.
Grim Life Collective.
And they did a walkthrough of like that neighborhood and of the house and where he stayed. But yeah, so
this movie starts off as kind of like a missing child thing, which I thought was really interesting. So I'm like, oh, we're going more detective, right? It's more than just.
I'm with you, man. And there's a left turn in the film where it just all.
But there's
I
only-
bet it's
Yep.
the same one.
I bet you're right.
From the experience of watching even the first movie and then this one, there's only so much you can do with the exorcism itself, right? Like you have this
Right.
whole movie that's just like the first one,
Or there's
meandering.
only so much people can seem to do with it. Maybe there's more,
Maybe,
but
sure, but-
nobody will do it.
But the movie's called The Exorcist, so you're trying to get to the exorcism,
Right.
but it's a 2-hour movie, so it's meandering and this and that and the other, and then you get to it and you're like, oh, that's cool, but you got to get through all this other stuff. So this movie, which I think does interestingly, is it starts off as like missing children.
It feels
and
like
what's going
Prisoners
on,
is what it felt like to
right?
me.
And so I'm like, okay, that makes more sense because what else are we going to do until we get to the exorcism? But yeah, once they find the girl,
I think even when they find the girl, I think I got to tell you,
a little bit of the hospital stuff was cool.
yeah, but there's one scene where they
Which echoes the original, right?
Yeah,
There's like
right.
there's scenes where it's like the medical stuff is very.
Oh, yeah.
well, and her like peeing herself. Reagan does that in the first
Yeah.
one.
I
So
mean, the movie plays the hits.
it's a
right?
soft,
Like,
it's like a
you
soft
get a
reboot,
head
it's a
right?
it's a requel. Like
you get the head spin, you get the pea soup, you get the inappropriate masturbation, you get the
Oh, is that what she was doing in
the
church?
church, yeah.
Okay, I wasn't entirely sure what that was, but that makes sense.
That's what I took. It to be.
I think
she
you're
took her
right.
shoe off, and I'm like, what?
But
is
there's
going-
like when the parents were
And their
go-
hands like under her.
I did not.
Yeah. I thought
get it.
I was like, that's okay. But
I
yes,
didn't
you're
pick
right.
up on that either. But okay.
But yeah, they
I
definitely
think
do the
in
hits.
today's world,
Yeah, and she's also underage.
Do you think they cast that girl because she
Well, 'cause
looks
the kids
a
are
little
the
bit
other-
like
Regan? I think that's exactly why they cast that girl.
I think so much that when they did that, I thought that was a flashback because
Yeah.
they go to who's the actress that plays the nurse, the neighbor?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We
I
know
don't know
her.
her name,
What
but
is
she's-
her?
I recognize her.
oh,
but-
she's on Handmaid's Tale.
Endowed.
Oh.
She's the Aunt Lydia.
Yes.
like the-
Yes.
and Dowd. She's a famous actor. But anyway, so she's like,
Did you see what was the thing with it's like 4 people in a room talking about school shootings. She's in that. It's like their parents.
yeah, it was
Oh
phenomenal.
my! I can't remember the name
Oh.
of it. But holy
Yeah.
smokes was
Yep.
that good.
I got a
Yep,
screener
yep,
for
yep.
that. I
Literally
remember.
just 4 people sitting around a table talking
It's
for an hour
so-
and 40 minutes.
See,
and
that's
it is great.
Talk about writing. I mean, you can make anything. The simplest one room, like obviously a lot of plays do these chamber
Yeah.
pieces. If the writing is good enough, you don't need a lot of flash, a lot of locations.
Nope.
But the problem is when you have good concepts, as we've seen many times, and I think in this one, could have been really good, but I don't think his writing is strong enough to hook you. I think it's just not.
It's
I think. Go ahead.
well, I just think he's uneven too. I liked the dad and daughter, and their relationship was cool.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
like,
So Leslie Odom Jr., he's from Hamilton. Most people would know him from. He played Aaron Burr. He's been in some. Was he in the?
I feel like I've seen him in stuff.
Yeah, was
I
he?
think he's great.
I think
he's a likable.
I think
guy.
that there's the line that he
One Night
has.
in Miami. That was the big one that was getting
Oh.
Oscar attention a couple of years ago. He was in that.
The line that he has when he walks outside, when the Haitian gal kind of says, "Dump this to the east of away and east of the house," and he dumps this water out, and the priest is sitting in his car praying the rosary. I think this line made me laugh. Where he knocks on the window, he's like, "The fight's in there," and the priest is like, "Okay, I'm sorry."
That's corny
It
to
is,
me.
but
It's
but
so
like,
corny.
For what in that moment, like.
Yeah.
The way he reacts to the priest who's sitting right there. He's sitting outside the house and he doesn't have the balls to go inside.
Well,
and this guy who is
I mean, in his defense, he did get his head turned
that's
around.
true.
So.
Yeah, he did get his neck snapped. But and then you've got the dad who's inside, who doesn't believe in any of this,
Right.
who's inside fighting for his daughter's life.
But-
it's such a simple line that I thought was pretty funny.
Kevin, do you think so? I feel like the first quarter of the movie sets you up.
The girls do some kind of a what is the connection?
They're
to
trying
the
to-
demon?
trying to contact her dead mom.
And I don't know.
But they're using something that somehow connects to the Exorcist. Like it's supposed to connect to that demon. Like how do they summon
They're
this?
just talking to the nether world.
Yeah, there's no- I don't think there's any-
I mean, like Reagan just used a Ouija board, right?
Yeah, I
there
think
wasn't
so,
really
yeah.
any direct.
Okay, I just figured there was
luck
some.
of the draw.
They were trying to connect whatever they were saying was like the Book of the Dead. They were
No,
trying to.
She
Yeah.
talks about her mom's scarf, and the dad took the scarf, and that's why she couldn't.
She was good. Like she
contacted
she
the
basically
wrong-
she called something from the netherworld, and that she was going to use the scarf to be like
Like a tether.
a personal item
And
of
I
the
think
person
it
she's calling.
Would have been her mom.
if her
if
dad
she-
hadn't
yeah.
taken the scarf is,
Right.
is what she says.
Interesting.
But the first half of the movie is kind of a nice. I hate. Well, the relationship between the dad and the daughter was so refreshing. Like, oh, they like each other. This is
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
So then when they start dropping like cheesy lines later, it's like, wait, I didn't think this was that kind of movie. I thought we were doing a more grounded
Yeah.
Yeah.
way people talk. Or then like when they start getting into a fight with the dad and the neighbor parents.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the
sure.
whole way nobody will like talk normal. And I
Yeah.
get it. It's a heightened situation. But the dad goes like, maybe your daughter was into something you didn't know about. And they're like, what are you trying to say? And he's like, I loved my daughter.
Right. That whole
Yeah.
thing at the police station or whatever.
that was so bad.
I feel like are they in the hospital?
Yeah, they're at some.
Yeah.
They're either
And
the
right, it just
hospital or-
feels like they
yeah.
were like, okay, we got to get him into a fight. How would we do that? And like, well, he could just say they don't love their daughter or some stupid.
But I think that idea, right? Like of two sets of parents with two daughters, and they don't know each other, right? And it feels
there's
like
a way to write that where
Right.
someone says something inartfully,
Correct.
and the tensions are
And
high,
but
but
don't-
like they don't do that.
the
They
dad
just,
could even be like, no, that's not what I meant. But instead, he's just immediately
he doubled
yeah.
Okay, I think Talk to Me just did this so much better, and that's what
did,
makes
yeah.
this even worse. You had these two YouTubers that came out of nowhere. I mean, I know they're YouTubers, but in the film world, and wrote this movie and filmed it, and it's so good.
Yeah.
so good.
I think that's very fun. Not the way you did. That was fine. And people talk about YouTubers. But there's a thing like the way people talk about that movie is like these just YouTubers. Like, well, what else would a filmmaker do? Like, you know what I
Oh,
mean?
sure,
Like,
sure.
Steven Spielberg wasn't a YouTuber because there was no
YouTube. Yeah. Right.
They talk
yeah,
about it.
David
It's-
Fincher directed music videos.
like it's just not
You know?
that. I feel like we're at the point where that's not crazy. YouTube's been around,
Right.
I
long
think
enough
we'll
that-
see that more and more.
But there's a difference between YouTubers that go and do some independent thing and it's okay, or they do a few under their belt, but like this is their directorial debut, and they made the film jump from YouTube to feature, and the feature was excellent.
But I'm saying, like, we're at the time where every single director
is a YouTuber if they're young, right?
And
if you're an amateur filmmaker and you have a finished product, you're putting it on YouTube.
Right, and you'll have things on YouTube. It's just it's just like a media
Totally.
way.
And I'm not anti. I watch more YouTube than I do films now. I'm that's like my main. I think YouTubers are amazing. So that wasn't a dig at YouTube. It's just
No. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
You
did not have the
I love
way
YouTube.
people,
I think people are like the documentaries, the video essays people are putting out are so interesting and digestible. Like there's so many talented people on YouTube that are
Grim Life Collective.
Grim Life Collective.
There you
That's
go.
right. Yeah.
So
Watching all that YouTube is why you thought the
Like you have
Exorcist
the
was
same feeling
boring.
about them, I do.
Right.
Yes, it's neat stuff.
Every
but I
time,
don't
every once in a
really-
while, I was like, nah. I mean, do I want to see you go through Halloween Horror Nights? Yeah, but I don't want you to talk.
Yeah, baby ghoul.
Yeah. Oh God. Gross.
So the two girls are found, but they don't remember anything about where they were.
They think they've
it's
been gone for like an
hours,
hour,
but it's been
They're
3
like,
days.
You're wrong.
And then just possession stuff starts happening.
Okay, so yes, there is the one scene when the dad brings his daughter home, and she's kind of like, she has moments where she's normal, but then she snaps and she's not. I just want to be left alone. There's a scene in that dad's brushing his teeth and he closes the mirror. It's a trope, but man.
But she's not in the mirror. That's the different thing he did.
It's a thing.
She's
There's
in
some
the foreground. She's looking in the mirror, and you're looking for like a mirror jump. But the lights go out and back on. Nothing there. Lights gone back on.
No.
But she's right there in the foreground.
No. There's another one where like the demon version of her is in the mirror.
Oh, I don't know if I.
It's fast. It's super.
Well, there
it's
is a flash of something. Yeah.
and it's.
Yeah, I think
but
they do it at the very beginning.
They do,
too.
and it's like it
Because
got
The Exorcist does it.
Yes,
they're playing the hits.
They are
It's-
playing the
It
hits.
is very much. I mean, it's like Force Awakens, but not as good. This is very much a soft reboot where they're just doing the Exorcist thing.
Yeah,
He's really trying
If you go back and rewatch The Exorcist, you see Pazuzu everywhere. He's all over the place.
There's flashes. Just,
Yeah.
And at this point in the movie, I'm still in.
I'm still in.
I'm having a great time.
I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like it's creepy. I like the way the house is set up. Like the house is, you get the feeling that it's a big house, but
There's ins and outs, and
it
walk
feels very
around
small
which they don't use later
at all.
Because he does the thing right where he comes around to scare
Yeah.
dad-daughter stuff.
I think that's great.
and you're like, ooh, that's gonna scare
That's
me.
what I thought. I was like, oh, that's coming
I
back.
guess she kind of whatever.
I was
Yeah.
bummed that ice cream melted. He brought her pancake and ice cream, and then she peed the
Sure.
bed and
Yeah.
then had to leave the food. And I'm like, that
Sure.
ice
You get
cream's
soupy
melted.
ice cream.
Yeah.
That's the way that works.
I mean, it's okay for a while, but then when it gets warm, you can't.
yeah, he takes his daughter back to the hospital.
He has to commit her.
Yeah, because she's lost. She's in full possession mode.
She's hurting herself and others, and
Right.
I feel like the movie has a timeline issue where it feels in the movie like he takes her home one night, like she's in the hospital, he takes her home for one night, and then he goes, I gotta put this bitch in there. I can't deal with this.
It is true. It does feel like it's 24 hours where he puts her in bed. Wait,
Yeah.
she's peed the bed.
Well, she hit him over the head with something.
Does she?
In the
I'm not
bedroom.
saying he made the wrong choice.
No, but I mean, things escalated pretty quickly.
Right.
For,
And then she's committed. But
I'm not cleaning these sheets every night.
yeah, you're out your mind. But at this point now, she's full possessed. Like she's got the makeup going. She's got the demon face rocking.
They never really addressed the weird water, but the bath that he made for her when
Yeah.
he turns off
Ooh,
the
I
bath,
thought she was
it's all
gonna
full.
pop out of
That's
there.
what
I thought
there
too.
was going to be a creepy, scary scene, but it's just like, oh, the water's a little gross. There.
Yeah, that's you should probably get your pipes checked.
Like,
there,
I don't
bud.
think that was a good enough. Like, why even put that in there
Right.
if you're not going to make it a scary or a gross, or it could have been blood or something, which maybe would have been a little. But you know what I mean? It was gross and
Right.
then never addressed.
Never addressed.
And nothing popped out. Nothing.
No. And then so the other girl, they take the other girl to church.
She's been like pulling her toenails and fingernails. That's one of the grossest
Yeah.
things, just because that's.
I don't like
so-
that anyway.
Yeah,
I don't
so
like
she's
fingernail
all of
stuff
her
or
toenails and both the girls, their feet are really gross. It's like
They were in hell. They got burned in hell.
They got burned in
There you
hell. Yeah. Also, real quick, the fact that nobody noticed that the word "help" was carved into this child, and it took the dad being like, "Wait a minute, let me go back and look at those pictures that I shouldn't have at all."
which is another Exorcist thing. Same thing that.
Yeah, but it's also just like, are you telling me that no other doctor was like, "Hey, man, that says help"? Like somebody carved help into that
was
child.
us. That was
Maybe
us.
We
she's
don't
just a
see any-
Beatles fan.
Would it imply anything happened to
I
him?
guess
It
not.
seems-
So now the other daughter, this is to me, this is the dividing line. This is when this movie goes to is the daughter. They're in church, and this other girl is not okay. Starts I guess she just went to town on the Christ wafers and wine, which also I did appreciate. As growing up Catholic, we all, you take your first communion, you do the whole thing, you all drink from the same cup, which is just gross.
Do they still do that now?
I don't know.
I've seen
put it in the little Dixie cup.
But I saw this and I was like, oh, that makes way more sense.
Can you bless all the? Or I guess you bless the whole
you
thing.
just do the
and then you
over
divvy
it.
up.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hey, I did her picking up that paper with her toe was funny.
What?
She
when she's sitting there and she's playing with the.
She picks up a piece of the page of the Bible or something with her foot. It's
I
funny.
do like the two siblings were just like, oh man,
Yeah.
she's crazy.
That's what I didn't get. Now it makes more sense. But they're both looking at her because I'm just
What
like,
are you doing?
And I thought, okay, she's just being weird and taking her shoes off. But
Nope.
Oh boy.
taking care of a little business.
What is in the original Exorcist, like all the demons so sexual and like saying lick me
Right.
and
I
do
think-
all this
well,
stuff. and
because
it's
it
like,
was-
It's worse in the book.
It is worse in the book.
I was gonna say
in the-
is the
in the-
book okay?
In the book, she finishes.
Yes.
Oh,
That
is
correct.
I don't want to know.
But
about
also,
Now, I
I-
will also say the book did something that I wish the movie had done.
Okay.
Which the book, all of the things that happen are technically explainable.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's no blatantly supernatural thing that has occurred. So you don't really get a levitation.
I was
or-
gonna say the bed lifting and her
it's like things are bouncing around, but it could also just be her
Moving
like,
around.
See, I like that. I see
Yeah.
that is the most interesting thing with The Exorcist as a concept is the question of is she
It's-
possessed or is she?
It's the Exorcism of Emily Rose.
I was
That's
gonna
the
say, surely there's a movie.
That's
right?
what you're looking
Yeah,
for. Honestly,
okay.
like I think that's Scott Derrickson. It's oh god, who played Dexter's sister? Jennifer Carpenter
okay.
and that's a real story. Where
And then
this-
the second one's the family on trial, right? Or
it's,
is
no,
that
it's
the
the,
first
that's
one?
the first one. It's the
Okay,
priest.
right.
Is the priest. Spoilers.
Oh, I don't want this.
Okay. Well, okay. The main thing is the priest is on trial.
Okay.
For something, and then it's like a flashback.
Okay.
Of like what happened to
all right,
this
I'm gonna
girl.
watch that.
It's very good.
So like,
Wait,
I love that idea.
the mom in this, not the dead mom, the white mom.
Yeah.
That's Jennifer Nettles.
I didn't.
I knew she looked familiar.
I just
I
it's the
knew.
lead
I
singer
saw
of
her.
Sugarland.
I saw her name, and I was like, "Well, that can't. Where was she? I don't remember her in
That's
this
funny.
movie."
Every time I saw her, though, I go, I know who that.
Yeah.
Like she's someone.
Yeah. So anyway, now the white girl has also like entered full possession mode. This is this scene in the trailer with the body and the blood, and I guess she has. I guess she's poured.
You know that's not the lyrics, right?
Let's let the bodies hit the floor.
No, I know, but
Okay,
that's
just
what
making sure.
she kept going body and the blood.
That's the
body
parody
and
we
the blood.
did for worship service.
Yeah. So that's all.
That's
I
how you know it's St. Louis because it was worship.
I kept trying to like entertain myself. I guess I was like,
But this is the line. This is where this movie goes to shit for me. I guess she has poured the wine over herself, and she's just walking. And I do like where the parents are like, we got to get this kid out of here.
but it had it like turned into real blood. She didn't look like she had wine on her. She looked
Who knows?
bloody.
Then they should have tried to tell you that.
Okay.
That somehow the demon has
I
changed.
mean, if you got wet with wine, you would just look wet. You
Wet,
wouldn't look
yeah.
bloody. But she
no,
looked
if
really.
it was red wine.
No, but
it wouldn't
it's
have
wet. It's not.
That's
true.
texture.
It wouldn't
Right.
have the viscosity.
Yes, that's fair.
She
That's
looked
fair.
bloody. So I think that's an interesting idea to take the communion wine, which is
It does turn into
the
blood.
blood, right?
It does.
Well, not
Yeah.
at this church because it's a Protestant church.
That's
Oh,
true.
see.
Is
Yeah.
that what they are? Do they say that
That-
they're Protestants?
I mean, I'm assuming because
Explain the transubstantiation.
No,
again.
please don't. We don't need that. It's go in the archives. It's
All right,
somewhere in there.
Talk about Halloween Ends again.
Done.
Priorities.
So now, both,
So you don't like this stuff.
Oh, I think this where
I think it's where it gets
too
goofy.
cheesy.
It gets
Yeah.
too
Way
goofy.
over the
like
top.
her voice isn't. Or I don't think the girl.
Tell me
did it-
how the original Exorcist is any less
Here-
goofy.
bec-
It's
okay,
the same
it was
exact
200 years
Right.
ago.
Here's the thing.
Same voice, even with like
I
the
think-
Irish voice. Is that supposed to be someone that was famous, or
No,
It's that
just
same.
It's but it's
Pazuzu.
it's.
By right, but it's the
Just
same.
how we talk.
It's like an Irish guy, is what he sounds like. I didn't know.
I think to me the
Wasn't
Exorcist
she
still.
channeling the priest's voice or something from?
She channels a bunch of different voices.
Right.
It's like the voice of Max von Sydow's mom,
And
or
then
no,
like
Jason
the homeless
Isaac's
guy
mom.
that he sees in the
Yeah,
subway.
yeah.
And I thought she was supposed to be being some guy that like a recycled voice from the first one.
Oh,
That's
probably.
I think it
because
was-
it's the same. Like again, it sounds like just
Yeah.
having watched it,
Yeah.
like, oh, she was doing that voice.
Which, right, is a problem with these kind of movies where the movie's referencing another movie instead of internal things
Right,
within
yeah.
its own movie. That, like, I hate that. I don't.
But how do you do fan service? Like, if you don't include it, people are like, "There's no connection."
I
But
don't mind, right? Like a little bit of fan service, but like,
Well, we'll be getting fan
Yeah.
service, Kevin. Don't
And
you
like
worry.
that's
You're
the-
pretty little head
oh
about
my
it.
God, That's the worst.
but right, her like those voices have no connection to anything in this movie,
And
and
if
it
they're
is
different demons,
Well, I have that issue too.
Okay.
Is it one demon split into two
Right.
people? Is it
Or is it two
Pazuzu? Or is it
they
two
don't-
demons?
So what I wish they would have done is obviously you can't bring back Father Mirren because he dies, right?
Right.
You can't bring back
surprise, he's not dead.
yeah, right. You can't bring back
Somehow.
the other priest because he dies
very
in
dead.
3.
No,
In-
those are the
and
Joker
in
steps, the
Yeah,
same
but,
steps, right?
but you could bring them back because they're saying that this is the second one. They're ignoring all the other movies.
Oh, okay. You can't bring
But you
wait.
can't bring back the people that are dead.
Well,
in
then
the first
Kara
not
movie.
from,
probably-
not from the first
Yeah,
one,
like
obviously.
Damien, he's
but he
dead.
was saying that whoever dies in the third movie, and I was
It's
like, that doesn't
Damien.
matter.
Damien dies in 3. Damien is the
Well, I just watched it. He's dead, unless you're
he
spoiling
does-
something weird.
He does not die. If you watch those movies, you think he dies in 1.
That's what I'm saying.
He does not.
Okay, I
in-
saw his head smashed with blood
Well,
all over
I'm telling
it.
you right
Well,
now, in
but-
Exorcist 3,
See the movie.
when
Gotta
George
see
C.
it.
Scott
But
goes,
Exorcist 3 also wasn't supposed to be an Exorcist sequel.
And you have depends
Like,
on which.
but
cut-
it was.
But the studio forced that on him. It's based on a book called Legion
by
and
William, by the
William
same
William
writer.
Peter Blatty,
Yep.
and then he comes in, he writes and directs the third one.
Yep.
And then they're like using some
Yeah.
of the same characters.
Yep.
And follows the police officer, Kinderman or
Yeah,
whatever.
who is-
and,
yeah.
and but it was played by George C. Scott instead of
but not the guy in the first
the
one.
like
It's a different guy.
Cobb, Luke Cobb, or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. And so, and then they're like, "Oh, well, we need to make this an actual exorcist."
Like
And then-
Cloverfield did it.
and then
They did.
and yeah, and then they forced him to
Jason.
add an exorcism scene at the end instead of because he was like, "This isn't really about." It's the same character. It's some of the same characters on different adventure,
Right.
but they're not necessarily out to do exorcisms.
Correct.
And they were like, "But
They
if
made
you
it.
you're
want
going
us-
to."
but if you want us to continue
Yeah.
to pay for this
Right.
film, then they're going."
So
to.
in that movie,
So I don't know, even though they call it Exorcist 3, if it was truly designed.
I don't
to
think it was,
be-
but it
So
becomes
maybe it was
yeah.
a prequel, and
Which-
he wasn't.
No,
No, not a
when
prequel,
you
but-
bring in the actor that they bring in for that movie, that makes it an Exorcist sequel.
for sure. But I'm just trying to remember if that character died in the book.
Damien?
Is he viewing this kind of like Stephen King saying, "Well, this movie's a sequel to the book, not
Right,
the
right,
movie,"
right.
Like playing
That's
that
interesting.
kind of game.
But
But
okay,
in my mind,
in,
it's like that
in
dude is-
Exorcist 3,
Yeah.
depending on which version you watch, there's one version that's all Brad Dourif, and he's amazing in that movie. There's a second version where it's Jason Isaac, and the reason they bring in Brad Dourif is because Jason Isaac had a drinking problem and he could not get through his lines. Like he was.
I didn't know Jason Isaac had a drinking problem.
That's the one. Am I saying the right name? Who played?
know.
Who
I
played
think he is in-
Father Damien?
Oh, in
Who played Father Damien?
I don't remember.
the original?
Yeah,
Oh, I can't remember, but is he back in the?
he's in the original cut of Exorcist 3.
Okay.
He's the guy that George C. Scott is seeing in the hospital.
I always
in
think
the
of
insane
Jason Isaac as the guy from Harry Potter.
Then that's not the right guy. I'm not saying the right name.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, no, he plays Lucius Malfoy. I always think of him as that's Jason Isaac.
Then I'm not saying the right. I think this
Joe.
is yeah.
I did think that the
Jason
church.
Miller.
Jason Miller.
Okay, because I'm like
Jason
geez,
Miller.
Okay,
I thought. Oh, sorry. Well,
Well, I'm just saying, like in that movie,
Mm.
Jason Miller comes back.
he's as patient X. Is
He's,
what
he's
yeah,
Father
yeah.
Damien.
Okay,
He-
so
Dam-
that
Da-
does
the-
seem like a retcon, though. I believe Damien is dead at the end of the first
But
movie. That's
That's fine.
Yeah.
But he's not. I'm telling you, he's not.
But you know how there's certain things we accept in these weird horror sequels and that we don't, even in the Halloween movies where
Yeah.
you can choose to ignore
Right.
certain things like
Different
they tack it on.
timelines.
Right. He's dead.
not in 3.
I did think the church scene was pretty bad. Kind of felt like, oh no, we're going a different route.
Yeah.
nothing else happened, right? That made this movie suck real bad.
Everything after the church scene.
There wasn't like a person that shows up for no reason.
Ellen
Okay,
Burstyn
so here's
thing.
the thing: is this idea of the legacy sequel and these legacy characters? I think it's really cool. I like that idea. I think in 2018, when they do it with Jamie Lee Curtis, that makes sense to me, right? Like, she's crazy. Let's finish her story, even though we don't finish her story for 3 more movies. I think bringing back Neve Campbell and David Arquette and Courtney Cox, that makes sense. To me, this is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing.
Absolutely.
Where not only can we not bring back the original actress because she's dead, but we just cast another woman to be this character, and then we kill her for no reason.
Right.
And then in this one,
it was such a waste to do this to
It
her.
is
Why?
such a waste.
But what I don't understand, this is the thing that really blew my mind. So I thought it was really like mean-spirited and weird that they had the demon gouge out Ellen Burstyn's eyes, okay?
Yeah.
But then in the end, she's reunited with Linda Blair.
well, God damn it, Kevin, we were getting there.
But why did you gouge her eyes
Because-
out? And if you're going to give her that happy ending,
Because we've got 2 more movies.
They've done it again. They've given David a trilogy.
This is a trilogy. So, I mean, I agree with
But
when
why
they
gouge her eyes out? Either kill her off so you don't have to pay for her, hope she's able to.
I think they're
or
trying to like
sideline her without killing her.
I think
Right.
that like they'd like to have her back for more, but also realistically, the woman
may
is
not.
91
Right,
years
yeah.
old. Like,
And if
That's why I think killing her off makes sense. But they've now kept her alive but blinded her.
oh, it's awful.
when they
And this is David.
Why?
I feel like David Gordon Green doesn't understand like human being. Like I feel like he thinks we're gonna go like, oh, good, she's still alive, instead of her last months on this earth are blinded.
He gave her a
and
happy
pain.
ending blind. Why did you do that? They did not need to do that to her.
what I thought honestly what they were going to do is they were going to Sally Hardesty it, where they were going to kill her.
Right. If you kill her, it's mean spirited, but it's like, oh my god, they killed.
But now you open the door for Linda Blair to come back. Right. This thing has killed my mom. Has been through all of this. This thing has killed my mom. I've done this dance before. I will come back and do whatever.
And this is Pazuzu, or it's the same because it says like
Pazuzu
the
pets?
grandma mom is like, it knows me.
But I can't know. But it's like connected because it's not even the same thing. I don't think
Pazuzu is like is a lord of hell. Like that's.
I think it's been like talking to Pazuzu or talking to the devil or something, right?
These 2 other demons are gathering notes.
Something.
what all the demons know each other, Kevin. Real nice.
Something in my
Real nice.
But from watching this movie, I don't remember a lot of it, but I do remember that it seemed as though the demon sometimes sounded like the other demon, but then there was a reason why it wasn't the same one.
Sound alike too.
Yeah.
This isn't the same.
Need to
They
fix
I don't
this.
know.
Editing.
But so you think they're down there and Pazuzu's like, oh, I got exercise.
Yeah.
Like Pazuzu, don't worry about it, man.
I got you.
I
got
love that
you.
they have nicknames. Oh, Pazoos, don't even worry
I
about
got
it, bro.
this.
No, it'd
Give
be
me 30
Zoos.
years.
Zoos. That's his
Yeah,
nickname.
Zoos.
Come on,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
right,
go
right.
Pazoos.
It's a networking luncheon.
But I don't
They
know.
invited him to come to the thing. Hey, come join our group.
But even that is lame, right? Because like, she had not Helen Mirren, what's her
Ellen Burstyn.
Ellen Burstyn. She has no connection to this really, but then they have to make her say like it knows me, it recognizes me. So there's some okay, so she has some stake in this. Even though she doesn't, nobody's called her. She wrote this book.
Yeah.
This is the first person that went, hey, can you help me with that? And she's like, yes, I've been waiting. Nobody.
And just the whole like.
Where did they get? Was that Did they make that footage of her? Like
They must have.
de-aged her.
Yeah, that had to be.
That was
Yeah.
really well done.
I thought it was
that's
too.
Probably not even de-aging, right? That's like deep fake on a different
Probably.
actress.
Right,
You
right,
think
right.
at that age,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah, I
think,
guess that's
and
true because it's
voice-
on a screen, so it's like you
it
don't have
sounded
to.
like her too. They actually got the younger voice thing that they
right?
mess
Yeah.
up
No.
so
They.
often.
It was
and-
really good.
Indiana
Indiana
Jones.
Jones.
Was so
I was thinking
awful.
the same thing. yeah. Or the Irishman, or what? You know, when you get
God,
the
I
old
want to
man-
give this movie props
Oh,
where
please.
it is deserved.
Yes.
In the interview when she's on TV and the old footage,
Yeah.
Was in
she
focus.
it shows her the cover of her book.
Yeah.
The book he has a different cover.
That's true.
They've updated it.
They've
since,
updated the
yeah.
cover for the new edition, and I really did go, that's cool. That's good. Because a lot of movies, right? They just
It's the
use the
same
same
thing.
cover,
Yeah,
and you'd
right,
be
right,
like,
right.
well,
There was something weird, though, and maybe it could have been explored in a different film, but like a later film if these are going to actually be a trilogy, because I know they want that 400 mil back. We should mention, we've collectively talked about
right.
Universal bought the distribution rights for this new trilogy for $400 million.
Was the original
Not
one
the rights. They don't own The Exorcist. They didn't buy the property. They can't make Exorcist lunch pails and T-shirts from the original. Just this new trilogy.
Exorcist pea soup.
Yeah,
Oh, they
right,
can't,
right, right.
They can't even make their money back on merch.
Crucifix-shaped dildos.
They
None of
only
that.
bought the distribution rights for the new trilogy for $400 million. That doesn't count production on this movie, advertising, all that extra expense. So it's like they banked so hard that people think that Exorcist is that hot of a property.
I think so.
$400 million
I
for
will
the
say,
rights.
I do think it's I think that price tag is reasonable when you make a good movie. Look at look at Halloween. Like I think Halloween is a prime example of a franchise that
I think Halloween's way more notable and did not cost $400 million.
Because Halloween has been consistently produced over the course of 40 years.
there has been at least something,
and they've been more popular movies.
Well, I would say too, right? Like Halloween is Michael Myers, that look, that vibe. Exorcist, you can make
I don't know what that
Exorcist
means.
movies.
Yeah, it's just,
They have. Like
There's just-
Exorcism of Emily Rose you could have called that The Exorcist
coulda.
Emily Rose.
Yeah, you don't need the property
Right.
name, which is my point, is that Halloween is more consistent, has been handled better,
It's got-
but it doesn't
it's got-
cost $400 million.
It's got
So-
more recognizable branding.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
How did
Big
they
time.
get $400 million out of these people is my question. Like, if you told me they bought the rights for $100 million, I'd go, wow, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a good deal. Like, I cannot believe.
Now
they-
wait, what if they de-age Linda Blair in the next one?
Oh, see?
And she's like a 5'8", 7-year-old.
I will say, I remember what did we do with her in it? We did. It was during COVID.
We did.
It was a roller skating movie.
It was
wasn't
like a roller skating movie.
And
Yeah.
it is.
It's not
have you ever-
Xanadu, right?
No,
No.
but it was. Have you ever looked at her at like 25, side by side with Amy Schumer?
No.
Oh, I
It
know what
is
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Uncanny how
I had
much
forgotten
they
about that.
like
Roller
look-
Boogie.
Roller boogie.
How
Look
did
at
we land on roller?
I
Boogie? 'Cause
don't
we were
know.
Someone
doing-
Dan or someone suggested that we do roller boogie. It was a suggestion
Oh,
from
was
someone
it?
outside.
Well,
and
we
I
did
swear
it.
it was Dan related, but I can't
But if you look at
remember.
Linda Blair at like 24, 25, look at Amy
Yeah.
Schumer at 24, 25. It is uncanny how much they look alike. So they bring back Chris McNeil.
Yeah, Ellen Burstyn.
Yes.
Who has never been better than in Requiem for a Dream. I just kept thinking, I'm like, her performance in that is so good.
She's a fantastic
How long
actress.
has it been since she's acted?
It's been forever.
Because it seems like maybe.
But I just like her performance and like the way she deteriorates in that movie
that's
is
awesome.
so good.
And she ends up here.
And I don't think she's that good in the original movie. And I think
she's very good. But you got to look at it like she's a mom that is completely lost. She's got it's just her and Reagan, and her daughter has like gone completely.
story's
insane.
fine.
But
I don't know.
It hasn't. She's been consistently acting.
oh really?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because
Good for her.
I see credits in 2010, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I mean,
I feel like she's been around. I just haven't seen
and
the
in
stuff.
sizable things. Age of Adeline and
Our highest
yeah,
download
Yeah.
episode.
but yeah, I mean, she's
anymore.
in a lot of she's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
She's
so
working.
they end up gouging her eyes out. And I will say, the end of this movie, the fact that none of these people got charged with a crime is insane
it's-
to
Well,
me.
do you know why?
No.
Because possession is 9/10 of the law.
End it. That's the episode.
We're done.
That's the best thing that could have.
Matt's over here like, I hate that joke, and god damn it, why didn't I think of it?
Oh, it's, but seriously though, this is another. We talk about this with movies that end with police coming to the murder
Right.
scene, the crime scene, whatever. Okay, yes, we all know a possession happened. We all know this was real. Like, there's nothing that leads us to believe these
Right.
people are having a hallucinogenic fit, a psychosis, whatever.
Right.
We know possession was real. There's murders that just happened. Murders.
There's a dead child.
and a dead child, and they all show up in the.
There have been people arrested.
Oh, yeah.
for people getting
Like
injured
met-
or killed, attempting to do exorcism.
Yeah.
That's the actress of Emily Rose.
And it's like, so the police all show up and they're all like, do you need anything? Do you need here's a blanket? Like, what is their explanation? We just had an exorcism. Oh, damn, that
His
sucks.
head just did that.
That's like, yeah, this guy was murdered, and they don't point to these adults as trying to perform exorcisms on children.
Right,
and people got killed.
There are chairs bolted to the ground.
Yeah, right.
There's blood all over the place.
This would look like you just did a crazy cult religious
Yep.
ritual and got people
Because
killed.
you
There's
did.
there's a
Right, but
there's
yeah,
a there's
we
a
know that
cra-
there's
but there's also
something right.
there's also a crazy symbol etched into the floor
Yeah.
where these two chairs are in the center of. You've got a priest whose neck has snapped. You've got a dead child. There's no way none of these people are getting charged with criminal negligence.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
end- the end of this
trilogy.
movie-
It's a trilogy.
The end of this movie should be that it failed, and
But-
like, sorry, dour ending. They go
but
to
there is
jail.
the nurse is in a she's talking
yeah,
to the cop, and the cop's like, you should probably wait for your attorney.
Right.
And she just starts talking. So it's like something's going, like, if you're
Right.
telling this gal to wait for your attorney,
Yeah, I may have missed that line.
she
I
goes like,
missed
wait for your counsel, and then she just starts talking.
What I heard was when the police were like talking to one of the priests, like, "Hey, Father, are you doing okay?" or something. Like,
Yeah.
it was very comforting, and I'm just like, dude, these people should be in cuffs because I mean, maybe they eventually in movie world figure it out that they're innocent, but
No.
like they should
No.
be presumed that they just murdered these people.
The law, there's no way. You can try that at trial. These folks are getting
Right.
charged with a murder.
That's what I'm saying. In movie world, they come up with stuff, but like, there's no other way to look at it. Bunch of dead people, religious symbols and imagery strapped down to the like.
Blood on the chair.
Yeah, you guys have all just murdered these people.
Another problem I have with the film. Why is it two kids? Like, but that never really. There's like the decision at the end.
Because he thought he was trying to say something with either class disparity
Sure.
or racism
or religion.
I
Like,
think
there's
he was
the amount of religious and stuff in here.
Yeah.
is
Right, but it
crazy.
never.
But
they
I
ne-
do
they-
believe he thought there was something with
I think
that,
you're right.
Right?
And he seems. I mean, I feel like also right. He's going like, I'm just presenting the question and the viewer, but then he kind of ends up saying both, like with his mob
There's
mentality
no-
in Halloween.
Yeah, like there's no way with something like The Exorcist that you can resolve the storyline without saying Jesus is real.
Right.
Yeah.
Christians are right.
Right,
The
right.
devil's
Well,
a thing.
right, and so you have
Yeah.
the main character doing very like early on. He's like, this is all fake, or like
He's supposed to become a
skepticism.
believer.
But you're like with him, or I feel like the film is with him in
Yes,
the
right.
beginning.
Yeah.
This is the trope of I've lost my faith, I lost my
Right.
wife, so how can God be real? It's that question that gets asked all the time.
And I'm okay with like the I don't know. It's just muddled. It's
But
all
the
muddled.
problem is in the end of the movie, because it's an exorcist movie and the priest has to be the hero, they have to do that Avengers team up, and then they have to go, the priest is here, and it has to be like he has to be the good guy, and that's
He's like, by the way,
then,
snap.
But then that's the thing, right?
and I like the head fake in that, but it's still the fact that
Literally.
the characters are
they do that, and it's almost like but see, Catholicism isn't the hero, but then it
But
then it
ultimately
is.
it is.
Religion is, and
Right.
religion's real.
That's what I'm exactly.
And it's just all this dumb stuff.
I'd
and
rather do the head fake and them not, but then you like can't do that
Especially because,
Right.
like most other Catholic or Christian religions, like exorcism is one of the things that they point to as like the Catholic Church is silly, and you
Right,
can't-
right.
You know what I mean? So like you can't really bring in these other religions because they think this is dumb.
Oh, and what I mean, there's a message in a different movie that's not supernatural of like, hey, we should all get
It all
along. It's all
works.
cool.
Yeah.
But in a movie where they're real, then it goes like, well, no, you can't have. They directly oppose things. Like
Correct.
you can't do that. But the thing with the two girls, I feel like you're thinking like, oh, it's going to there'll be something where it's two and it's scary because it's two, but for most of the movie, we're with one girl, then the other one, then
and
back
then they
with the
just
other
bolt
one.
them together.
Well, then I was thinking when they're separate, right? Like
I
they're
thought
not
they were
as-
going to human centipede it.
What?
Wouldn't put it past
Well,
this
I mean,
franchise.
honestly, and I mean, it's like gross, but like Exorcist is gross. They could have done some gross stuff,
Right.
But
Disturbing things.
Yeah, the only things they do really is the one girl like pukes up a hairball and that's kind of it.
And it all
Like,
could have been one person. You know what I'm saying? Like they
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
do
yeah.
anything with it being two
So
people.
to wrap it up, though, at the end of The Exorcist, I know we kind of skipped around, but like it comes down to both the kids are possessed, they're doing their demon stuff, people are getting their necks snapped, all that stuff, and then the demon says you have to choose one of us. And then I guess I took it as choose one of us to die, but then the dad is trying to save his daughter.
I
and
think it's
chooses
choose
her
one of us to
Oh,
live.
it was Joker. We were supposed to
Yeah.
think you're saving
But I
the
took
one.
it, but okay, but for whatever reason,
Or maybe not. Maybe he was just unclear.
But maybe it's because it's this creepy trickster
Yeah,
demon.
right.
But like when they said choose one of us, I immediately thought, oh, they have to choose to kill their kid. That's a horrible choice. I didn't know it was choosing, so I guess I was supposed to be surprised. But I go,
yes.
But I
he
also
made the wrong.
But I also like I do like that moment with the mom and the dad of the different kids where they're just like, I'm not choosing.
being smart enough.
Yeah.
Well, not even. I mean, I guess kind enough also. But
Yeah,
also
but kind
smart
enough, but also smart enough to not play into the game.
Right.
And then you've got the idiot dad who's like, I choose my kid.
so he got tricked.
Well, also, why would a demon want to teach you a lesson about like,
Parental.
choosing,
being nice and stuff? Like,
Yeah.
you were selfish.
but also then sacrifice themselves, right? Because when you choose, then didn't the demon?
Well, I think
die?
what happened is that the dad. So our
Leslie Odom
Leslie Odom
Jr.
Jr. puts we come back to the scarf. So he puts this scarf over his daughter's head, and he was like, "I love you, like your mom loved you. I want you. I need
Victor
you know.
Fielding's the character name
Victor
because I know you're going to want
Fieldings,
to come back to
yes.
this
I know,
universe
sure.
and remember that.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will when we.
a year or two.
Yeah, right.
Be right here.
Oh God. Where like he puts the scarf on her, and that kind of like breaks the demon's hold, where it's about love and acceptance, and the demon lets her go, but ends up killing the other kid in the process.
So, do you think that if he hadn't done that and the other dad made a choice,
I think they would kill them both.
Oh, so the way I interpreted all of this was that nothing mattered, and the dad made like they're doing like get the scarf stuff. I had that same like, oh, he's winning, they're gonna do it, and then the dad made a choice, and it was like, oh, nothing mattered
matters.
because he just did that.
I
Like,
will say probably the coolest thing in the entire movie is when the little girl gets taken to hell and the demons take her down, and that
and is
visually
this
was,
little girl in hell? Is that?
Yeah,
Like this has to be part 2, right? Like they're gonna go
Yeah.
get this girl.
oh really?
They have to.
You think? Oh, I
Yes.
think she's dead.
No way. I mean, if they had the balls to end this movie
I
like
thought
that,
that's
Her being dead is one thing.
getting dragged to hell.
Dragged to hell, and I seen that movie. Now that's a good movie.
But I
good
thought
movie.
that was a really cool imagery with all the demons
yeah.
and dragging
Yeah.
her under. So this movie should have had more actual scary, creepy things. And this movie I thought was just kind of lacking in anything that was very creepy.
It had moments.
just-
It had really good,
I
like
just-
in that very beginning.
Right, but
And then-
possession wise,
yeah.
I don't think they did a lot with the grossness and the creepiness. They recreated a lot of things from the first one, which at this point I think are maybe a little dated because you try to do the same thing and you're like, that's not
Did
really
they do that in Halloween?
creepy.
Was there a lot of like
An exorcism? No. What are you talking about?
Were there
Three
a
of
bunch?
them?
Were there a bunch of
Yes.
like? Did he go back and like do the hits? Because
He pins people to walls.
Yeah, he does that.
and
yeah,
that kind of
To
stuff.
me, it didn't
Okay.
seem as obvious as
when he
blatantly
kills
obvious,
that
though.
one kid, like which
Well,
is a
because
good
most
kill.
of the hits in Halloween are stabbing people.
That's
well, I
true.
mean, yeah, it's a guy with a knife. They'll be stabbed.
Well,
But,
you got-
but you have specific ways he kills them, though. And
Yeah,
he
you
does
got-
pin
you got
someone
when
to a
he- when
wall
he-
with a knife.
yeah.
Like,
You know who that
there's-
was supposed to be originally?
Who?
Dennis Quaid.
Oh, really?
Dennis Quaid was dating PJ Souls at the time in that first
they
one.
broke up and he couldn't.
No. Like he
or-
was doing another movie.
Oh,
And
gotcha,
So like
gotcha.
that character was supposed to be Dennis Quaid and he couldn't do it.
Wow.
Oh yeah, okay. So the end of this movie is we go back to Chris McNeil and she's in the hospital. She's got these weird eye patches on. We hear the door
remember that
open.
David Bowie's last album,
The one that came out right before he died.
not
Dark
a-
or right after he
Star,
died? Dark
North
Star?
Star, whatever.
I think
And
that
he's
was
got there's a video. He's got these.
Oh really?
He looks
Oh,
like,
right.
So we hear the door open and Chris McNeil's like, "Victor, is that you?" And we see a hand reached. We should say that like,
if you didn't see this coming from a
well,
mile
of,
of
and-
freaking
of
way.
course.
the only reason I was wondering was just because, like,
well, she's not there, right?
did they spend the money to get her
Yeah.
to show up?
For,
Right,
one,
like,
for one day of filming, yeah.
Well, they reference earlier in the movie that Chris has written this book And because of this book, Reagan's like, fuck off. Like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
She did not want to be in the public eye, and she hasn't spoken to her daughter since.
This is Gail Weathers. It's the same. He
It's
just
the
watched the
same-
Scream prequels,
And then she leans down, and of course, it's Linda Blair. And
and then she punched her.
yeah, she's like, I told you not to write that damn book.
Finished her off, killed her.
See, now if there was a twist though where Reagan comes back and,
And
she's
then
like,
makes
"Oh my
her
gosh,
deaf,
Reagan,"
too.
and then
Like-
kills her. Oh my
But I mean,
god!
but I think
But if she killed her at the end, and we find out Reagan's possessed, and now the rest of the trilogy is going to be
I-
about finding the demon that's still in Reagan or something. Okay, that's a setup.
I think that
What's
the twist is that Pazuzu never left, and Reagan has been possessed this entire time, and now Pazuzu's like, I got all of
is
you.
or should be?
Should be.
Okay, because that's
no,
what I'm saying. This movie
I
just
think-
ends.
I think that they're going to kill Linda Blair if they keep going with these movies. I don't. What? We know
But it
this
is
made.
such a they're playing it so safe where they don't kill her,
Yeah, right.
but they disable her.
They give you the.
and then they give you what they think is a happy ending where you're just like,
I'm
this
here,
is
Mom.
Not
Well,
really.
and again, it does. I look again. I don't know if David Gordon Green was paying attention.
He listens,
to
yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but
it's the
it
same.
feels like right. They saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre, saw Sally Hardesty get killed right away, and went, "Now people didn't like that, so we're gonna fix it. We're gonna do." But then they do. It's like, no, man, that's not the thing we didn't like.
You either kill her and you're like, oh my gosh, she's dead, or you give them a nice reunion and she's not blind. Like, to do those two, just
That's.
did
I'm
not-
saying that, and I don't think any other Halloween and Scream are the two franchises that have brought these characters back. Right? There haven't been any other like requels where they've brought.
certainly
I
the
feel like
biggest.
these are
I
the
mean,
main
Okay, so- and
ones.
those I think both Scream 5 and Halloween Psycho 2.
Well, the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. But those are which
I'll
I
tell
gotta
you
tell
what,
you, they're
Psycho 2 is
all
great.
good.
I'm
1
telling-
through 4 are
right
great.
now, after watching all those Psycho sequels,
Yes.
I would rather watch those than any of these
Psycho
Exorcist
1
movies.
through
I'm
4
in.
are amazing.
I
They're
like them
so
all.
good.
I'm on 2. We finished 2.
Okay.
Now this is another thing I think of. Like, I had never seen Psycho. I finally saw
wow.
that for the first
you
time.
watched
That
the,
is
you
such a
watched
great
the Vince
movie.
Vaughn one, right?
Yeah, it's a stop for
What do
stop
you mean
remix,
the
and-
Vince Vaughn one? I mean,
Yes, that's the one, right?
I watched Psycho. Yeah. But so it was a movie where I knew I knew it all, right? So I don't know how much I would have enjoyed it outside of that. If I saw it fresh, didn't
Right.
know anything about it. Psycho 2
You didn't see that one coming, did you?
might be. I definitely enjoyed it more. You know what I mean? Like, on an enjoyment level, Psycho 2 is really good.
I think the Psycho franchise is better than this franchise.
Has no business. Those movies have no business being that good.
They're good.
They're very good. This one's not very good.
No, I mean it's
First,
okay.
fourth, solid.
Better. This is better than the Nun 2, and this is better
Yes.
than the Voyage of the Demeter.
Ooh, I
Yes.
forgot you guys.
That's fair.
You did Nun 2, right?
Yeah.
We just watched it last night.
2
at the-
Undercover.
at the drive-in.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's so dark. We left. We didn't finish it, and also our speaker died. We could have turned the car on, but the thing was just like so many things were
You
like.
had a better expence.
And finally, we're in the middle of the movie. And
They use
I,
speakers? Like, I thought it was all just...
no. We have a radio.
Oh,
thing.
gotcha.
And it died, but like we're watching. I can't tell what's going on, man.
We
That'd be
talked
really-
about this where it was dark, but not in an atmospheric way.
That
It
would
was
be hard to
so
watch that like on a
bad
drive-in
looking
screen.
story.
It was aw- It was
yeah.
impossible.
Yeah.
And we because we went there to see Seesaw, and that was tough. But it was fine. I mean, I got it all. But man, it
Did
just
you get to the magazines?
yeah, that was awesome.
Told ya.
Just listen to the episode.
Thank you, Matt.
I don't.
Just listen to the episode.
I don't want to be spoiled, so I got to go
Go
back.
for it.
I'm glad I remembered,
Yeah.
but that was the only cool.
In theory, but
Okay.
listen to
Also,
the-
though, I do a little bit of After Effects work.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was watching it, going like, "That's really neat. I wonder how did they set up the project, the like cinema 4D project for this? It's very
I
cool."
read later that it was a huge pain in the ass and it almost didn't get made, but
Oh,
they
really?
were happy because it was the only interesting thing
That's
in the
funny.
movie.
That's funny.
Is that what they said?
No, but
This was the
essentially-
only interesting thing we accomplished
Hey,
in our
much
film.
like The Nun, though, what are these? I have this. Okay, in all these possession ghost movies, you know how The Nun will like be scared, like I'm the wall, and you're going like, is that wall the nun? And then it goes, it is me, and like grabs you.
Yeah.
And then that's that. What is it doing?
Listen to the episode. I'm not going to say anything else. Listen to it. The entire episode is me going, what is the point of the nun? It doesn't make any
But
sense.
sometimes it'll burn you alive. We were watching.
if you're not a main character.
Or sometimes it won't.
The nun will kill you if you are not
Yes.
a main character every time.
We watched the Red
If you
Door.
are,
Did you guys do the Red Door?
did,
I
yeah.
gotta go back to that too.
What
I'm
is that?
catching up on a lot of stuff.
Insidious.
Watch the Red Door, and there's a thing where a ghost is behind someone.
Yeah.
but only for us. The camera like pans
The
by their
opening
head.
at the graveyard.
Yes.
He never realizes there was anyone. It's
That's
for us,
the thing.
right?
And I'm going, what
is the
are
ghost
these
doing?
ghosts doing? What are they going? Okay, so can you imagine if someone was standing over there, how scary this would be? It's like, yeah, but ghost, Pazoos, come on, man. You know,
Zoos.
you know, there's not someone over there, right? He's like, yeah. But like, imagine, right? Like you're and pretend you're like kind of panning, like you know how a camera would, and you go like by their head, and then when you get to the other side, I'm gone.
Gone.
I was like, yeah, I guess that would be scary, but like,
It's just
I'm gonna
to
try it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna
it's
try it.
Just to show that sometimes he feels like somebody's watching him. It's the
you're like,
atmosphere.
did it work? I don't know. I can't see it from the right
I set up a
perspective.
camera. I gotta wait. I gotta edit the footage. I think it worked.
It's just and
It'll be on my YouTube.
Exorcist does it too, right? When
YouTube.com/@Pazuzu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I do feel like in the first one there's a little bit more of a like, oh, it's building its power inside this girl, I guess, or you can kind of make up stuff.
Yeah.
But in this one, it turns that guy's head around. Seems like it can do plenty.
Snaps that guy's head
Kind of
off.
the same problem with the original Exorcist too. Like they have all these powers, and it seems like sometimes they just are, like we say, like goofy little goobers. They're tricksters sometimes, but then other times they snap your neck, and you're just like, what are you?
Like TV reception, you know, back in the day with an antenna. Like sometimes the picture was really clear.
Okay,
Sure. And
okay,
other times
okay.
you just, it's like, Channel 5, no one really comes in great. Why is it so fuzzy?
Or like when they're
You gotta
throwing,
like click it.
This doesn't
Breast
happen in any of
exams on
these
Channel 9, Peter.
movies necessarily, but you know it happens a lot. They'll like throw a cross into a wall, stick in the wall,
Yeah.
you know, but right by the guy's head.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. Do you think the demon or ghost is going like,
I hope so, because I would like to think that the demon, who is this murderous psycho demon, is actually trying to achieve the goal.
Well, I
of
think
killing the people.
I will say I do. From what I have in all of these movies, the idea is that the demon is trying to break the person down.
get the
It's
soul or
it's
whatever?
trying
I
like
guess?
in the first Exorcist.
If you explain they thrive off
in the
their-
first Exorcist, that demon is trying to break down Mirren and Damien.
And he wants you to forsake your religious beliefs.
Yes,
right?
and that's the goal, right?
He's
Then
not just out to kill you.
Sure.
He just wants to break you.
Because he wants you to go to hell. Like if he kills you and you're a good person, then he has lost.
There's an entire movie about this.
Or if your
There's an entire
dad
film. Have you seen this?
picks you.
Starring John Goodman and Billy Crystal. It's Monsters Inc.
Oh my god.
They're just trying to make you laugh, man. They're not trying to scare you.
Yeah, I will
People
say-
think they're scary. They're trying to.
Before we
They
wrap this up,
scare because they care.
there's a great SNL sketch with Richard Pryor and I wish I could remember the other guy, where they're two priests and it's the same it's the same thing,
Yeah.
and it I'm not gonna tell you what happens in it. Richard Pryor has done a joke about this in many stand-ups about how like if that were to happen and it was a black priest,
Right.
as soon as the demon goes hello, Richard Pryor's like, I'd be like goodbye, and that's it.
Eddie
There's a-
Murphy does that too.
Does he really?
Like, yeah, you're talking about Amityville Horror. He's like, oh, this is such a lovely house. Well, we're gonna be so happy. Get out. Too bad we can't stay.
But there's a great SNL sketch with these two
Okay.
guys. It's very, very funny. The first fourth of this I think is really good, and then it just completely falls
I can't
apart.
like their $400 million plus the budget of this, which was meager. It was only like a 30
million
Yeah,
bucks.
so I mean,
Oh.
but the $400 million for the rights, they're like, you better do this on the
15
cheap.
of it that went to Linda Blair. For
Yeah,
$1
right,
million.
right.
I mean, this is Blumhouse.
Is there any kind of box office yet or anything?
Wikipedia says 11, which I think is for the Friday, which means it probably made about 30 over the weekend.
I feel like it's gonna fall off.
But on a
cliff.
400
Yeah,
plus
it's-
30,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
so what are they going to do? Because they're already so committed.
They're gonna do 2 more movies, and
gonna do 2 more.
I have to believe they're gonna do a TV show. I honestly I think that's the way a lot of. I mean, there's a goddamn Crystal Lake TV show. Like
And a
I
Broadway musical.
yeah right. Do
Do you-
I?
I bet they pull the Linda Blair card harder for the
Yeah.
second one
Oh,
than they
no,
would
this-
have. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they would have pushed that to the like. Oh, you got to wait until the third to really get
Oh,
that.
yeah,
now.
no, she's going to be the main character of the second,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna go after that girl. That's what they're gonna do.
Okay.
We shall see. Yeah. So I guess that's it for this one. Let's go around the table and everyone can say where to find them.
I'd prefer that these people didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't look at it. Matt F Basler, put like a block on searching for that. Please.
I will say Matt has one of the greatest Halloween shirts for local.
I should do that. I should do that.
Plug something around Halloween time.
BaslerScreenprinting.com. We just launched. We're doing a shirt of the month. It's all St. Louis artists, so you know if you're not from here, you might not care, but you might. It's fun.
It's great.
People know who Vincent Price is, so I
He
mean,
was born here.
Yeah.
Different artists every month designing a shirt. You can buy the single shirt, or you can sign up for the subscription. This month, Brittany Boynton made a very St. Louis-centric Halloween T-shirt.
Is she related to Barbara Boynton?
I don't know. I don't know her extended family. I don't even know a lot of her immediate family.
Okay. Sandra Boynton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I signed up for the club. What if you just decide not to do it next month?
Well, what if you sign up for BarkBox and they decide to not do it next month?
Oh, are you on BarkBox level?
Jeez, you got it.
Wow. Bringing the heat.
What if your buddy David Bark said, "Hey, I'm going to do this box for dogs," you know?
I don't know, man. I got burned on a T-shirt thing one
Oh,
time.
yeah. And he says, you know, like HelloFresh, would you be like, "Oh, you're HelloFresh level"? I mean, I print. My job is making T-shirts. I do that.
I was
fine.
just being silly. I wasn't
It's not
serious. I'm just saying, I want 2 more T-shirts, Matt. And they better
That's
come.
you have paid for them. You're getting them.
And they better come via UPS. I don't want you dropping them off. I don't want you being like, "Hey, let's
He
send
already
you
said.
porch."
He already said he mailed them to
I
you.
want those 2
I
shipped
spent
priority.
$4 extra knowing I was going to see you today, so you'd have some mail to open.
Thank you.
And who doesn't love getting mail? This is Joe. You can also follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21. You can also follow me on Letterboxd at the same.
This is Kevin. Follow me on X at Kevin R. Brackett. Follow me on the Real Spoilers Patreon, where I sometimes have 2 guests on to talk about horror movies and Marvel movies.
Oh, what?
And follow me on Circle of Wizards, where that's another thing we could plug.
that's a real
video games. Circle of Wizards. Subscribe to it. The second episode's dropping. It may be up by the time you listen, but we've got 2 eps out, a couple more in the can. We're talking about video games.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can follow my other podcast.
Yeah, the more
That
successful
doesn't
one.
need help. We need people to
We
find.
have so many Peloton listeners.
Yeah,
on this
right.
show. But you can also find the show online at facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and of course, don't forget the Patreon, where Kevin sometimes has 2 guests on to discuss horror movies. So-
That's not right.
But-
I think it's the other way around.
We need your support. So every time we have to fix it, we just upgrade computer equipment, to be able to provide video to you guys, and we're upgrading the cameras. So
all 50 of you.
all 50 of the listeners?
No, the viewers of YouTube.
Oh, well.
We're getting there.
Hey, we're trying.
Baby
That's what I'm
steps.
saying.
Baby
Check
steps.
it out, though, because we are upgrading. Like, the graphics are upgraded. The video's upgraded. We're doing all this for YouTube. So check us out. Like I said, at least subscribe.
Whenever one of us cuss, a little animated chicken runs.
I know.
Same.
We're gonna start wearing makeup.
We'll get there. If we get 3 more Patreon subscribers, we can get the chicken graphic. But the thing is, if you subscribe to us, again, if you still like to listen on your phone and just listen to podcasts,
You're allowed.
you are. But the subscription, I think once we get to 500, do you know, Matt, you can get ads that play if you're, it's either 500 or 1,000.
I believe it's 1,000.
Is it 1,000? Okay, so we're at like the high 300s now. So just hit subscribe on there for us, and whether you listen or not, that will help us reach more people and get ads and everything.
So anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Brophy stops Satan by destroying the cameras.
Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, 'cause we already warned you.